I wanted to talk about battery life on the S22 Ultra after a month of ownership because by far that's the biggest holdup I see still in the comments section today of my other videos about whether people want to buy the device or not. It's not performance, it's not build quality, it's not camera for the most part. It's battery life and some legitimate concerns as far as how many hours of screen on time this device will actually give you. And while I was talking about the battery drain and all the rest of it in the initial impressions video, and I was going after Samsung saying, hey, listen, you're charging big money for this device. You absolutely need to make the battery life bigger. And I don't care about the excuses about the Snapdragon running hot and not being as efficient power-wise as it could be because it's your name on the back of the device. And that absolutely holds true. But for this video, I want to have a conversation not aiming towards Samsung. I want to have a conversation with us, just among us, just between you and me out here. Samsung's not involved. I want to realistically set expectations on what we should be getting from this device because there's a big difference between want and need. And I would hate people missing out on an experience like the S22 Ultra just because they're trying to chase some battery figure, some number of screen on time that they're trying to hit that may not be realistic for any number of devices out there at the experience level that the S22 Ultra gives you. Because I've talked about this before with screen on time. Screen on time is only as good as the experience that you're getting. Plenty of devices out there that could give you a 9 or 10 hour screen on time that you wouldn't want to use for 9 or 10 hours because it'd be an absolute trash experience. So I don't want to. There's a balance, and I want to make sure that we strike that when we talk about the S22 Ultra. What could you get without trying? Battery life is unique for everybody, but I would say if you absolutely need more than 6 hours of screen on time in any given day, and it's mission critical for whatever you're trying to do, this might not be the phone for you. It can absolutely get there. There are things that you can do. You can kind of cheat your way there with brightness and the refresh rate and closing stuff and being aggressive with what apps you use and watching that. But to me, that's not the experience that you want to have on a $1,200 device. You don't want to buy a $1,200 device and having to be sit there all day long saying, oh, geez, can I really open TikTok again? Can I really watch that entire YouTube video? Maybe I should only watch half at a quarter brightness. That Facebook refresh, I don't need to see what my friends did in the last 5 minutes. Those are things that you don't want to be doing with an S22 Ultra that you paid good money for or you are in the process of paying good money for. That's what you do with your Flip device. That's what you do with your Flip 3. When you've made that conscious decision saying, I need to be extremely careful with my battery life, but the trade-off is this really cool form factor and what I get to do with the Flip and the feeling in the hand that it gives you. There shouldn't be trade-offs here. So if you find yourself as somebody who needs that 6 and 7 hours of screen on time and you'd be seriously hampering your usage to get under that, this is not for you. Don't spend the money. If you're somebody that realistically can take a step back and say, geez, do I really use that much? At the end of the day, if you're somebody who has 3 hours of screen on time used and you're sitting there and you have your pitchfork in the air and say, I need 7 or 8 hours of screen on time. Do you? Do you really? Because if you don't, this is the best Android experience on the market right now. And just looking at the landscape, Samsung doesn't get a gold star for giving us the average. All right, they don't get a pat on the head and a good job and all the rest of it for just giving us that 5.5, 6 hours of screen on time, even though that seems to be the experience that people are getting across Android. Maybe the Pixel 6 Pro can get you a little bit more. But if you're on the fence, first of all, I don't like giving advice to cross over. I don't think Android people are looking at iPhones. I don't think for the most part iPhone people are looking at Android. But if you're in a position where you need 9 and 10 hours of screen on time at flagship levels of performance, the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max, more likely, are pretty much your only options. Some people have been able to push the Pixel 6 Pro up into that range. But it's been tough. And a lot of that's the Snapdragon. Like I said in the conversation about Samsung, I don't give them a pass because it's their name on the back of the device and they're the ones that are pocketing the $1,200. But I live in this universe and there are things that we have to accept. And right now, one of those things we have to accept is the Snapdragon flagship line of chips. And there was just a tweet today. I'm hoping it's not, I don't think it was an April Fool's because I think it was from yesterday. But they're saying that for the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 Plus, whatever the mid-year release is going to be of this particular architecture, they are working on pulling it back just a little bit, the power, to help the thermals, which will then in turn help the battery life. We don't need all of this. It's nice to have it. It's nice to have that future-proofing. It's nice to know that 5 years from now we'll finally maybe be getting around to using all the capabilities of our device with the Snapdragon chips. But if they could pull it back a little bit, just that touch, and give us an extra hour or so, maybe even more, of screen on time, why wouldn't that be a trade-off that we'd make? So when you look at Android 11, you look at Android 12, you look at the Snapdragon 888, which boggles the mind how they didn't learn that lesson last year with how hot that Snapdragon 888 ran. You basically had to cut in with a drill tool, a hole in the back of the device just to vent the air from it. You had to be pouring in fresh seawater like a nuclear reactor or something like that. It's out of control just to keep it cool for those chips. So how they didn't learn that lesson last year, I don't know. But if they finally got to the point where, well, geez, we need to do something here, then maybe, just maybe there's hope going forward for battery life because they have to be tired of it. I know the consumers are tired of it. I'm tired of it. You don't pay this kind of money if you're a heavy user and have to really think on an app-by-app basis what's worth opening up, what's worth spending time in, and especially with a phone like the S22 Ultra, where the experience on One UI is so good, you find yourself wanting to do more, add more widgets, have more stuff that you do, more stuff that you rely on your phone for, not less. So to make those trade-offs are definitely concerning. But when you look at the landscape and see that Samsung's not in a vacuum, everybody's dealing with this, especially you people using the flagship Snapdragon at the flagship level of performance. This is the best, I think, of those. So there's a trade-off to be made there. It's unfortunate, but right now on the Android side, if we want flagship level of performance, we have to deal with subpar battery life yet again this year. So it really comes back to that want or need. We all would want to have all the battery life we could possibly want, possibly imagine. 8-9 hours, give it to me. 5,000 milliamp hour battery, we could do that, come on. But the trade-off is, do you need that? And if you don't need it, do you really want to deprive yourself of the best Android experience I think currently you could get at the flagship level in 2022 so far? To me, the answer to that is no. I'd rather have this and live with the 5.5-6 hours of screen on time because realistically, I don't need more than that. And if you're in that boat, I'd hate to see you miss out on something like this for an arbitrary reason that you have, that you've built up because you've heard so many people talking about the battery life that you're not really going to use. And the other thing is that, I talked about this a little bit in the battery drain video, make sure that you're going into your battery app on here and making sure that nothing is having some sort of odd drain. See, I got to pull that up. When you go in and you switch it over, make sure nothing's going nuts in here when you pull into battery usage. Make sure everything's kind of on par. If you see something with outsized usage, down it. Restrict the permissions on it. And make sure you go to the App Store and you don't have 80 apps that need updating because they're constantly trying to work on stuff, constantly trying to catch RAM management bugs, but also battery drain bugs. So keep those apps up to date. And I think you'll realistically be able to get yourself to the 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours without having to worry that much. But that's the question you have to ask yourself. Do you want more or do you need more? And if you need more, I don't think this is the phone for you. If you want more, yeah, we all want more. But this is the best Android experience, so don't deprive yourself of that. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're classing it up on a Friday. LongIslandWatch.com. Look at that. Boss ceramic. So very nice. Until next time, have that Steve-alicious day.